Welcome back to the Wandering Pilgrims podcast, where we uncover the lesser-known stories behind America's founding moments. Today, we're diving into the life of Roger Sherman, a man whose signature graces all four cornerstone documents of the United States: the Articles of Association, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution. No one else can claim that distinction. But behind this self-made patriot were two extraordinary women who shaped his personal world: Elizabeth Hartwell Sherman and Rebecca Prescott Sherman. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's meet the wives of the strong pillar of the Revolution. First, let's set the stage with Roger Sherman himself. Born April 19th, 1721, in Newton, Massachusetts, Roger didn't exactly start life with a silver spoon. His family was modest, and when his father died in 1743, 19-year-old Roger shouldered the burden of supporting his mom and siblings. So he walked over 100 miles from Newton to New Milford, Connecticut, to start fresh as a shoemaker. That's grit. Roger wasn't content to just stitch soles, though. He'd prop a book on his workbench, math, theology, law, teaching himself while he hammered leather. By 27, he was calculating almanacs published in New York, and soon after, he became the New Haven County Surveyor in 1745. That job funded his brothers' educations. They became clergymen, while Roger kept climbing. Fast forward to 1754, he's borrowed enough law books to pass the bar. He had no formal schooling, just raw determination. He becomes a judge, a Yale treasurer, and by 1774, a delegate to the Continental Congress. Some scoffed at his thick accent and unpolished style, but Thomas Jefferson called him a very able and logical debater, steady in the principles of the Revolution. Patrick Henry ranked him among the greatest statesmen. And at the 1787 Constitutional Convention, Roger's Connecticut Compromise, balancing big and small states with the House and Senate, saved the day. He's the only founder to sign all four great state papers. John Adams dubbed him an old Puritan, firm as Mount Atlas. But Roger's story isn't complete without the women who stood by him. Let's meet them. Elizabeth Hartwell enters Roger's life in 1749. She's the daughter of Deacon Joseph Hartwell from Stoughton, Massachusetts, a town about 17 miles south of Boston, steeped in Puritan roots. We don't have a birth certificate pinned down, but she's thought to be born around August 31st, 1726, based on her age at death. Her family was pious and respected. Her father's deacon role suggests a household anchored in faith and community. At 23, Elizabeth marries 28-year-old Roger, who's just settling into his surveyor role in New Milford, Connecticut. They tie the knot on November 17, 1749, and she leaves Stoughton to join him in this frontier town. Imagine the shift from a familiar village to a new life with a driven, self-taught man already juggling multiple hats. What do we know about Elizabeth? Not much, sadly. She's a quiet figure in the records. But here's what we've got. She was highly respected by all who knew her for her gentle nature and Christian character, according to wives of the signers. That's a powerful snapshot. In a rough-and-tumble colonial world, gentleness wasn't a given, it was a strength. And her faith? It aligned perfectly with Roger's own Calvinist convictions. He joined the Congregational Church in 1742, and Elizabeth likely shared that spiritual core, raising their family in it. Together, they had 7 children: John, William, Isaac, Chloe, Oliver, another Chloe, and Elizabeth. Tragically, the first Chloe, Oliver, and little Elizabeth died in infancy, a stark reminder of colonial life's fragility. The surviving 4 grew up under her care while Roger's career took off. She managed the home front as he juggled surveying, law, and early politics. Then, on October 19, 1760, Elizabeth's story ends. She dies at 34 years of age. She's buried in New Milford Center Cemetery, her gravestone noting her as wife of Roger Sherman and daughter of Joseph Hartwell. Her death leaves Roger a widower with 4 young kids, aged 1 to 10. It's a gut punch, but her quiet strength had laid a foundation for his future. Elizabeth didn't live to see Roger's biggest moments, the Declaration, the Constitution, but she supported him through those early, scrappy years. She was the calm to his ambition, the home to his hustle. And when she passed, Roger was poised to step into history, thanks, in part, to her. 3 years later, enter Rebecca Prescott. Born May 20th, 1742, in Salem, Massachusetts, she's the eldest child of Benjamin Prescott, a magistrate and merchant, and Rebecca Minot Prescott, both from prominent families. Her lineage traces back to Harvard grads and, some say, even Alfred the Great. She's cultured, spirited, and by all accounts a knockout, known as a great beauty and a fine horsewoman. Rebecca's life takes a dramatic turn at 17. She's riding from Salem to visit her aunt, married to Roger's brother, Reverend Josiah Sherman, in Woburn. Meanwhile, Roger, now 42 and widowed, is saying goodbye to Josiah after a visit. Their paths cross on that road, her galloping by, him mid-farewell. As her descendant Catherine Prescott Bennett recounts in the Journal of American History, she must have ridden straight into Roger Sherman's heart. He turns his horse around, prolongs his stay, and courts her. On May 12, 1763, they marry. She's 20, he's 42, a 22-year gap. Rebecca steps into a ready-made family, taking on Roger's 4 surviving kids, John, William, Isaac, and the second Chloe, plus the 8 she'd bear, Rebecca, Elizabeth, Roger Jr., 2 Mehetables, the first dies young, Oliver, Martha, and Sarah. That's 15 kids total for Roger, and Rebecca's raising most of them while he's off shaping a nation. She's more than a caretaker, though. Roger relies on her sharp mind. He once said he never liked deciding tough questions without a smart woman's input, and Rebecca was his go-to. She advised him on business and public matters, her judgment a cornerstone of his success. When independence is declared in 1776, she's 34, brimming with excitement as the wife of a key player. Here's an interesting fact. Rebecca features in another bit of history from that time. When Betsy Ross crafts the first U.S. flag, Rebecca visits, and so's some stars, a privilege noted in family lore and Wives of the Signers. Inspired, she's later tapped to make Connecticut's first state flag with Mrs. Worcester, a fact officially recorded per the book. Imagine her stitching that symbol of freedom, her husband's ideals, in thread. Rebecca's charm shines socially, too. At a dinner hosted by George Washington, he escorts her as guest of honor, calling her the handsomest lady in the room. Mrs. Hancock fumes over the snub, but Washington doubles down. That's Rebecca, grace under pressure, beauty with brains. She outlives Roger, who dies in 1793 of typhoid fever at 72. Rebecca passes in 1813 at 71, buried beside him in New Haven's Grove Street Cemetery. Her legacy? 8 kids who thrive, a political dynasty, grandkids like Governor Roger Sherman Baldwin, and a role as Roger's partner through America's birth. She wasn't just along for the ride, she helped steer it. So, what do Elizabeth and Rebecca tell us? Elizabeth was the steady hand in Roger's early climb, gentle, faithful, holding down the fort as he bootstrapped his way up. Rebecca was the vibrant collaborator in his peak years, witty, wise, stitching stars and raising a dynasty while he signed history into being. Together, they gave him 15 kids, a home, and the support to become the only man to sign all 4 great state papers. Roger died a titan, lawyer, judge, senator, mayor, but he wasn't alone. Elizabeth and Rebecca were pillars in their own right, shaping a man who shaped a nation. Next time you think of the founders, remember the women behind them. They didn't sign the documents, but their lives are woven into every line. Thank you for joining us here at the Wandering Pilgrims. If you have enjoyed this episode and would like to help us create more like it, please consider supporting our efforts through Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and our shop. You can also find other resources and graphics about Roger Sherman, his wives, and others we cover on our website, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find all of those links in the description.